about MPP's internal rifts and reorganization hurdles ahead of the 2028 elections.
From 72 January, I jump on 2 years side, the tradition. There are more power POR that till 2001. Me am creating of departing by power. 2 terms. Ghana, didn't see. Anyway, then and there. The ability to say, a young woman, a prepare woman. Na bibi sebe kona nyamiada o mamicho na ya beg no mikra.
From January 1972, after the overthrow, we built this party gradually until 2000 when I led it back to power for 8 solid years. And now I'm being sidelined. I don't understand it. I really don't. Well, tonight we'll dive deep into the hard truth as the party grapples with distress, leadership, and strategy in opposition. We have latest from a NEC meeting which ended a short while ago here on Top Story, brought to you by Telecel Connect and Energies. Well, tonight, members of the opposition New Patriotic Party are still licking their wounds after the 2024 painful and humiliating elections defeat. But the party might be sailing towards an even bigger iceberg with its current reputation in tatters. Now, recent remarks by former President John Ajakum Kufuor hinting at being sidelined within the party have sent ripples through Ghana's political landscape. As the party embarks on a reorganization drive ahead of the 2028 general elections, questions are now being raised about potential internal divisions and their implications for the MPP's future. Now, speaking during a courtesy call by the MPP flag bearer aspirant Brian Achampon, the respected statesman expressed deep concern that despite his decades of sacrifice and leadership, he is now being sidelined and excluded from key decisions within his own party. Listen.
Party wa kokora bi omu enu anu mi sesi o anazo mu fansa da bre ma sa to the point say akokora fe aduane sha na kokora say menidi menya no that stage and think at least yam mamenti bi ma te ba kompa ese mu yan nyama bi no say nya godoro no na menya party ni bi think am me to ni mi fam.
If this party still has elders, I am one. Have I deteriorated to the point where, after being fed, I would claim I haven't eaten? No, I haven't reached that stage yet. My mind and memory are intact. The least the party can do is keep me informed. Let me hear what's happening. I have been quiet, but make no mistake, I have been watching closely.
So Ghana political party, political history. I can't say UGCC, but if 47 69 Buzia time, nearly power for Ghana. 2 years, 3 months, Buzia time. Me, 69, maybe 30 years, and be a member of Parliament. Be a founding member of Progress Party. 2 years, 3 months, Buzia, I am a deputy foreign minister. I jump on 2 years. Never say the team and number the Ashford prison with them 1 year, 3 months. Some in that day, of course, moved behind another detention.
If you trace Ghana's political history, it was UGCC, but you will find our tradition never won power. From 1947 to 1969, we remained on the sidelines. In 1969, I entered Parliament. I was 30 years. I was a founding member of the Progress Party. Dr. Busia appointed me Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs. And when Busia was overthrown, I spent 13 months in jail. How many among us today have paid that kind of price?
But I know I need the build year. From 72 January, I jump on 2 years side, the tradition. There are more power POR that till 2001. Me am creating of departing by power. 2 terms. Ghana, didn't see. Anyway, then and there. You say, a young woman, a prepare woman. Na bibi se bekona nyame ada o ma meto na ya beg no me kura mente ase.
From January 1972, after the overthrow, we built this party gradually until 2000 when I led it back to power for 8 solid years, and now I'm being sidelined. I don't understand it. I really don't. All right, so that is the former President John Agyekum Kufuor there, expressing some concerns about him being sidelined by the party he brought to power in 2000. My colleague Kenneth Jesse has been at a NEC meeting to plan on the upcoming delegate conference, and he just returned there. Kenneth, what do we know? But first of all, did we have a reaction to the former president's concern?
Well, unfortunately, no reaction came from any of the people I tried getting a reaction from concerning this by the former president, John Kufuor. I mean, I don't know whether the party will formally address it at an appropriate time, but as you mentioned, there was an executive, an emergency NEC meeting today to discuss a wide range of issues. But on the sideline, though, the party's parliamentary candidate in the 2024 elections for Abluma North, Nane Kufuor, was there, and she told me that she has offered an apology to the party. It was a meeting that had former Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia. You had the likes of the Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin. You had former Education Minister Yaosei Duchum, the hierarchy of the party executives. They were all present there, and she said that is where her issue of defying the party's orders was brought up by the party, questioning why she decided to go against the party's position not to contest that particular seat again. And then she said that she offered an unqualified apology to the party.
I think all boils down to apology, because that's my party and I'll keep being MPP. And so we all make mistakes. If your party says you shouldn't run, and I feel that the grassroots like me. But whatever it is, I think the matter is resolved, apology given, and we move on. Yes, we are moving on to see what God has in stock for us. Yes.
You mentioned that it's a mistake. Is it a mistake that you regret going against your party?
The question you asked is a bit. All that I can say is we've apologized to the party, to NEC, and so we move on. Yeah.
Did you feel that you were let down by your party?
The word let down, we did our best.
I'm asking that because you lost by just 209 votes. I'm sure that if you're in bed thinking, you probably, it might cross your mind that just if my party had said they would support me, perhaps I would have won.
Definitely, that is what every human being would think. That is what every human being would think. And that is rightly so. But then at the end of the day, we see. We'll move on and see.
Well, so that's the 2024 parliamentary candidate of the MPP for the Abluma North constituency, Ken. So today's meeting was to discuss the impending National Delegates Conference. What did you learn from this meeting?
Okay, so that was the primary focus of this meeting, which went on for several hours. And then the planning committee chairman, Joseph Osewusu, who is the former MP for Bekwai, told me that there were some objections that were raised during the meeting, that some people felt that they should postpone this delegates conference to a later date for the party to heal further. But then after further deliberation, they all came to a consensus that they have planned this for several days, and then they feel like if they do not do it now, when would they be able to do it? Because, mind you, in just a few months' time also, they'll be going for their presidential primaries. That is in January 2026. So it was a consensus. Most of the people in that particular room indicated that, yes, those concerns are noted, but they still think that the delegates conference, which is happening on the 19th, this weekend, the 19th of July, should still go ahead despite the challenges that are currently confronting the party.
So this is coming up on Saturday.
Yes.
Did you hear people talk about the seeming lack of leadership as people have been alluding to in the past? Did it come up?
It did not come up, though, because I mean it appears that most people are trying to shy away from that particular subject, but it wasn't something that came up. I mean, I tried to get a word or two from other leadership of the party, but they all shied away from speaking on it, so nothing of that sort came up.
Kufuor's own that came up is quite something that everyone is talking about, but the party hasn't spoken. I'm sure that they are thinking we'll go to the old man to try and settle scores. Did you get that indication?
I didn't really get that indication, okay. but a source told me that that particular video, that 2 or so minutes video, it's been cut and pieced together. Okay. So there seems to be a wrong impression that's being created outside there. Okay. Yeah, so beyond that, I didn't get any further comment on that particular sensitive subject.
All right, I'm grateful to you, Ken Jesse, for joining us. He has been covering this particular national executive committee meeting that took place today. But let me bring in Professor Kwame Asante. He is a political analyst and he lectures at the University of Ghana. Prof, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Now, hearing that the former president, someone who really you cannot talk about the history of the MPP without, is complaining about sidelining. What does that mean for the NPP itself?
Yeah, Kojo, thanks for the opportunity. But a quick correction: I'm not a professor, doctor.
So when it was okay, all right. Thank you for the correction. I'm grateful. Yeah.
Right. When you look at what has transpired, you get the feeling that all is not well, because if you look at the next. People made up of the NEC include former presidents. So why would they not involve President Kufuor in their dealings? I don't know the reason, but it doesn't bode well for a party such as the NPP, which is a very strong one. They believe in consensus building. They believe in inclusive programs and all that. It doesn't matter what. President Kufuor cannot be sidestepped when you are taking decisions, because in terms of governance and experience, he has more experience than anybody that you can think in the party. He's somebody they can go to for advice, for direction, and then for ideas. And above all, he's also seen it all, he knows it all, and if you follow the account he presented to Mr. Brian Champong, it gives you a lot of ideas that if you are looking at people who matter as far as the UP tradition today, you cannot talk without him. So that makes it imperative that any time that there is an important decision to take, you need such people. Such people coming in with experience, ideas, and above all, they are very important, towering personalities within the party.
But does this revelation do anything to the MPP itself in terms of it, the rebuilding process? Now, party members will go like, okay, so you were not even listening to the man who brought us to power in 2000. Does it really have any impact whatsoever on the MPP going into the future?
Oh, definitely, because you see, in politics, any decision you make, people can read meanings into that. You and I know that there are the Kufuor camps, the Nanado camp, and the rest of them. If these things are anything to go by, it's going to strengthen that perception in the party and create all manner of problems for the party if they are not resolved. So the earlier they dealt with something like this, the better for people to know that, after all, we are a family and that nobody is against anybody. That whatever is a problem, we are ready to share and find solutions from based on ideas of members who are in the party.
Well, so once this has come to light, how should a party approach it?
Straight away, they should begin from now, include him in their decisions, in their actions. Of course, it's not everything that he can come in, but the ones that are necessary and important, they cannot ignore him. They have to get closer to him. It is in their own interest because he has a lot under his sleeves that he can share. Once you shy away, you are denying yourself good counsel from somebody like him. If you look at people like him within political parties, they rarely exist. So once we are grateful that the good Lord continue to allow him to exist, the party should not waste time to tap into his expertise to build a party.
Now, according to my colleague who was at their NEC meeting today, some of the party members have already discounting the recording to say not totally though, but they say, well, it's been cut and pieced together to send a certain signal, but that may not be the entirety if the raw tape should be played. Should that be a factor, or the party should take what we have now to say, well, this is a matter of concern and we need to get it addressed?
Are they doubting what is played out there? Is it the case that what we have on the tape exists or not? If it does, I mean, they can play ostrich, but all that they have to do is what? Grab the bull by the hand and deal with the issue head on. But if it exists and they still want to shove it under the carpet, it's their own problem.
I mean, has the MPP's image or the way we knew the party, has it suffered any bruises whatsoever because of the current happenings?
Current happenings are no new development within political parties. We need to be honest to ourselves. It happens to parties time and again. If you recall, the period before Nana Kufuor election as a president, they were in more turbulent era and all that. But the party decided that, come what may, we weather the storm and then make sure that we put the party into proper footing so as to what? Place itself to fight the battle ahead. And they did exactly that. So if today they have such problems, it is only fair and proper that they acknowledge that and then begin to make moves that will help them to address the problem. But if they want to pretend that there is a problem and they don't want it to come out and so as to find solution to them, I'm afraid they'll fall on their own dagger.
So the solution is that they should just go to the big man, apologize, and see how they can restart their relationship, right?
Kufuor is a family member, and what he's saying, if it is anything to go by, it's not difficult to say that, old boy, we are sorry, but let's move on. You brought this party this far, and that even if we have wronged you, we are here to say sorry for we to continue. It is not difficult to do. And I'm not sure President Kufuor, the way he likes the party, the way he has brought the party to this level, he will chicken out and say that, well, I am not interested anymore. I am out of the party. Look at their programs and you match it against his current health. He is able to go there to lend their support to what they are doing. So it should be very easy for them to approach him and then deal with this issue once and for all.
In fact, he says his mind is still sharp. He hasn't gotten to the point where, I mean, you would say that he is irrelevant. He's still relevant to the game, and that, yeah, he has his own. He's still in his own element that he could, offer some piece of advice to the NPP. So let's see how that one goes. I'm grateful to you. But in the impending delegate conference, what's your expectation as a political watcher?
It's my hope and prayer that they get it done and then make sure that the right decisions are taken so as to rebuild the party and place it in a better position to fight in 2028 election. Nothing more, nothing less.
Okay, all right. I'm grateful to you. Dr. Kwame Asante is a political science analyst and he lectures at the University of Ghana. Let's get onto the phone lines and then bring in someone who is closely related to the committee working on the delegate conference, which will be happening this Saturday. The former majority leader, Oseche Mensah Bonsu, has joined us on the line. I'm grateful to you, leader, for this opportunity to speak to us. Now, let's start from where we ended off. I'm sure you've listened to the tape in a making rounds. What do you make of it, and how should your party approach it?
Hello.
Hello, leader. Can you hear me?
I can hear you better now.
Okay, great.
Can you repeat?
Okay, so I was asking that I'm sure by now you've heard the tape from the old man, former President John Ajekum Kufuor. I mean, what do you make of it, and how should the party approach it?
Well, we just had a National Council meet, an emergency one, at which the communication came out and it became a subject of discussion. It does appear that there is some miscommunication. President Kufuor he has a deep voice in the party, having been the first to have completed his term for and on behalf of the UP group, served his term, first term, and continued second term. We have an 8-year administration. So his own contribution to our governance, to the rebuilding of the nation, is phenomenal. And having been the former de facto leader of the party, his voice certainly carries some weight. Unfortunately, as I've said, in this particular instance, looks like there was some miscommunication, for which reason the council decided to nominate and indeed nominated some 5 people to have an engagement with him, with the former president. I think they are supposed to endeavor to reach him tomorrow. So that is it.
It means that the party is taking this seriously. Great to hear. Now, let's go to what is going to happen on Saturday. What was the outcome of this meeting concerning preparations for Saturday?
Well, I think there were some representations to the effect that if we could reschedule the meeting to guests, that didn't find favor with the overwhelming majority of the people who had assembled. The pros and cons were weighed, and it became obvious that people had adequately prepared to attend the conference on Saturday. So every stone is being put in place to ensure that we have a successful conference. I think the main issue will relate to the amendments that have been proposed for the Constitution. And there are many of them. We are told that they've clustered them into about 56 or so amendments. We'll go through them, go through the motions on Saturday.
So it means that so on Saturday, how's the day going to be like?
The annual delegates conference, and there we have usually a statement from and by the chairman will be the acting national chairman, I suppose. And we will come with a statement with respect to the current state of affairs. And so usually it will be the welcome address. And if he has to touch on a few general things, he will do so. The General Secretary will come and give an account about the state of the party. And the Treasurer will also come with a statement on the financial status of the party. We have the immediate past Vice President, who was our presidential candidate. I believe that space should be created for him to apprise the meeting of the performance of the party and maybe where we are. The immediate past president, I guess, would also have to make a statement. Kufuor, this time, we had one past president in the person of President Kufuor. Now, we have two past presidents. I don't know exactly what space is going to be created for the two of them. And I believe because the number is not too
large,
too loaded, I believe the two of them could be afforded space to make some remarks there. And then I guess thereafter, we may have some interregnum and we may come back to deal with the constitutional amendments.
Okay. Now, one issue that has been on the back burner for a lot of party faithfuls has to do with the election of flag bearer. Would the date be a matter of discussion at this particular conference?
I'm not too sure. The date and time for the delegates conference is set by the National Council. The National Council has made that determination. The delegates conference would be informed. Already the party does know. But if it has to be reiterated, it may be reiterated at the annual delegates conference. But it will be for the information of the delegates conference. The delegates conference cannot set aside the date set by the National Council. The National Annual Delegates Conference is the highest decision-making body of the party. But the National Council, which is a notch below the Annual Delegates Conference, has the jurisdiction entrusted to it by our Constitution. So they make the determination of the dates of the holding of the Annual Delegates Conference. And if the time is due for the election, it transforms into that. And that is what it is. It's like, it's like at the national level, the Supreme Court is the apex court of the land, right? That is where ultimate decision is made on any matter. However, let me just cite an instance, because we just had an election. With respect to election petitions, the Constitution expressly provides that it should be lodged in the High Court. And if there is an appeal emanating therefrom, the appeal heard by the appeal court ends it. So the appeal court is the final determinant of all matters relating to election.
Okay, all right. That's Oseche Mensah Bonsu, former majority leader there. And this has been Top Story, brought to you by Telecel Connect and Energies. Up next is Newsnight.
In the next 60 minutes here on Newsnight, the manhunt is on. Government deploys special task force to track down Abluma North election rerun thugs as police sift through footage to arrest violent perpetrators.
Because he has a number, he has a name, we know where he is, we know where we station him. We can easily go after him. But these are guys who commit this sin and they vanish from the system. But we have to take time to track them.
We have details as Kojo notes with concern what it describes as serious lapses in security. Also tonight, MPP's 2024 Parliamentary candidate for Abluma North, Kufuor, apologizes to leadership after defying the party's orders not to contest the Abluma North election rerun.
I think all boils down to apology, because that's my party, and I'll keep being MPP. And so we all make mistakes. If your party says you shouldn't run, and I feel that the grassroots like me.
More as the party maintains it will hold its delegates conference this weekend, despite calls by some leading members of the party to postpone it. Also tonight, the growing demands in Parliament for an overhaul of military personnel currently deployed to the conflict-torn Boko enclave after soldiers allegedly attacked locals.
I called on the Minister of Defense and the National Security to act as a matter of urgency and withdraw the entire military force from Boko and replace a new set.
In business, IMF warns rising energy sector debts remains biggest threat to stabilizing the economy, and Ghana's program with the fund.
And in sports, Ghana's Black Queens take on Tanzania later tonight in a must-win final group game at the Women's AFCON with commentary live on Joy 99.7 FM.
You want to join us here on Newsnight? I will take your views and comments on all the stories we will bring you here on the show. Send me a WhatsApp 05511119997 is the WhatsApp line. And later, how do you rent a room when the system locks you out? Ghana's housing market is forcing thousands into kiosks, container shops and unfinished buildings, not by choice but by circumstance.
Most of the landlords were demanding for 2 years, but my job, I can't pay for 2 years. For 1 year, cry is something. Decided to rent a kiosk.
What happens when shelter becomes a luxury? That's in our latest feature series, Habitat. You want to join us for that and more, or here on Newsnight. All the details after this.
Small money day, big money day, where too much money day. Telecel too much money promo drop. If you dial *500#, then join them for the Telecel too much money promo inside. You will win 100 Ghana cedis cash for the daily draws, 20,000 Ghana cedis for the weekly draws, then 1.2 million Ghana cedis for the grand draw inside. That be 1.2 million Ghana cedis. You for just reload airtime, then get points with it make you win. Make you dial *500# or go the Telecel Play up top. Then book inside riders give the Telecel too much money promo. Terms and conditions apply.
Telecel, connecting energies.
This promo will be NLA way they regulate them for the Caritas Lottery platform top.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. Me I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me dana mada with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
You're live here on Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, government has vowed to hand down and apprehend perpetrators of the violence at the just ended rerun of the Abluma North Parliamentary election. More than 5 individuals were assaulted, including 2 journalists, at the hands of marksmen
as sports violence marred elections. Interior Minister Muntaka Mubarak, at a news conference earlier today, said a special team has been deployed to the scene and is already reviewing videotapes to unmask and track down the culprits. Listen to him.
Why up to about 72 hours we've not seen any swift action with regards to the other, unfortunate incident? Let me say that we condemn this in no uncertain terms. I mean, that's, for me, it's a scar on all of us conscience that as people, having practiced democracy for over 3 decades, we cannot simply just go and have election and it will be violent-free. The Vice President is leading us, and she condemned it in no uncertain terms. If you could even come to my phone, you'll see that same day I forwarded all the videos that I had, and I asked, IG, what are you doing about it? I said, look, we have to review the cameras. We have to look at it from all the angles. He has sent the crime scene guys there. The ICT guys are all working to make sure that we get it. But remember, that officer is somebody that we know because he has a number, he has a name, we know where he is, we know where we station him. We can easily go after him. But these are guys who commit this sin and they vanish from the system. But we have to take time to track them. But assurance is that we are not going to allow this to go unpunished. Unless they flee the country. So long as they are around, they should be rest assured. The law will have to take its course. Because we cannot allow this to happen in our country. And you can be rest assured that, and I trust in the professionalism of the IGP and his team, that they are going to do a good job. So be rest assured that will be done.
Well, with the looming Akwatia by-elections and fears that will be more violent, the Interior Minister had this assurance.
Akwatia by-election. Yes. I know the challenge, people will say, coming events cast its shadow. If we can go to only 19 polling stations, this will happen. What will happen when we go to some of the rural places? All I can assure the people of Akwatia is that we will use Abluma North as a case study to review our operational, how we operate in Akwatia, to make sure that the citizens are free to cast their vote and express their will without fear or favor. So I want to remind all of us, including myself, that if anybody organizes this is what awaits you. And I believe in the professionalism of the IGP, COP, Christian Tetayano, that he is not going to spare any person. And he can have my full support, and I'm sure I also have the full support of the president that he must let the law grant anybody, whether that person is a Muntaka or that person is for MPP or that person is from NDC, he must make sure that the person faces the full rigors of the law. So that we can assure you, we'll do our best and ensure that Akwatia is safer and the election will be more peaceful.
Well, today we heard from the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, and they say they have identified some serious lapses in security. They issued a statement and condemned the acts of violence, but says the posture of some police officers were worrying. Also today, we've been hearing from statesmen, the AU High Representative for Silencing the Guns, Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambers, has called on the NDC and the MPP to train their youth against electoral violence, plus a call on civil society organizations to intensify education against election violence.
Let's be blunt. It is frankly an NDC MPP affair. You don't witness this with the smaller and minor parties. So that means that we need to get dialogue between these two major parties. We need to get the National Peace Council, the NCCE, of course, capacitate them, give them the resources that they need to begin engaging the two major parties, particularly their youth wing, to engage them in training for peace, culture of peace, training when elections are coming up to ensure that they understand that elections are not about beating up opponents and harassing your opponents, but it's about mobilizing your supporters, party faithfuls, to go out and vote. That's it. And of course, monitor and stand there and be part of the process so that untoward things don't happen. But it should never descend to to confrontations and attacks and assaults such as we have been witnessing. This is not the first time, but the decisive action that is required has never been followed up. You recall, even with going back, everyone keeps going back to West Wegon, and that's because a high-level panel was set up of very eminent and respected Ghanaians, and its report was jettisoned. And that leads to this tit for tat, which the ordinary Ghanaian is saying, when will this tit for tat start? Stop. And it needs at some point to stop. And in my view, let's work at engaging those who we know are those involved in it.
Doc, I mean,
youth wings of these two major parties. So let's engage them.
But Doc, I mean, come to that particular point, the opposition NPP over.
Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambas speaking to us on the back of the violence that we saw over the weekend. Security analyst Professor Christian insists it's time for a more radical approach to curb the rising political vigilantism.
Well, it will undermine our democracy. Some of us have argued consistently first that vigilantism poses a potential existential threat to our democracy and eventually possibly to the state as a whole. But we can beef up all the security we want, except we want to give them instructions to shoot to kill. Otherwise, those who should be preventing this are themselves those who are organizing these boys. So, look, we can blame the police and the army and the statutory security forces. But let's be clear that we are then giving them a mandate to shoot to kill. Otherwise, if it is just the routine riot control techniques, they will overrun them. Because these people are motivated, they are well paid, they've been psyched up, and they know they have godmothers and godfathers. Okay, so it is not the type of policing or the numbers. I will not target Akwatia, because the intelligence and security forces will hopefully be there, and my opponents will come heavily prepared. So I will wait for other instances or other cases where the security would not be prepared and my opponents will neither be prepared. It will be childish analysis and intelligence preparation to think that Akwatia will be the next violent spot. Okay, we shouldn't think that way. We should think that for those who have been brutalized, when is the best next opportunity where they can hit hard and go scot-free? That next best opportunity is not Akwatia, because everyone is focusing there. So if we take the case of the woman who was battered, and she had pepper spray, or I don't know what kind of spray, and that showed intent from when she left her home that something could happen, or she was prepared herself to do something. Now, because of the lack of appropriate training as to how to use this, in seeking to protect herself, were we to move the video in slow motion, you will see that in protecting herself by spraying, she rather sprayed the police officers who were seeking to form a cordon, a protective cordon. When the spray was used, they all had to, rub their eyes or move away. That created a space for this globally recognized diver to dive and headbutt. Okay, so we need to do things in a different way, building trust in the statutory forces to be able to protect us and providing them with the tools and the skill sets to be able to do so. But this is just the beginning of a long period in which violence will spill from the political space relating to elections into business, into social locations. And increasingly, we will see the use of guns another more offensive weapon.
Well, that there is Professor Kwesi, and you want to join us on PM Extra because we're bringing together those who have traveled this road before, including the Executive Secretary of the Ayawaso West Wuogon Commission of Inquiry. He will be with us on PM Express as we analyze what happened in Abluma North, but also look forward to the Akwatia by-elections and the lessons from that Commission of Inquiry that we are yet to implement that may come to bite us pretty hard in Akwatia. You want to join us on PMX at 9 p.m. for that. Let's stay with the subject of Akwatia for Abluma North for a second, because the MPP's candidate in the just ended rerun, Nana Ekuafui, has tonight rendered an unqualified apology to the leadership of the New Patriotic Party after defying the party's orders not to contest the rerun. Listen.
I think all boils down to apology, because that's my party, and I'll keep being MPP. And so we all make mistakes. If your party says you shouldn't run, and I feel that the grassroots like me. But whatever it is, I think the matter is resolved, apology given, and we move on. Yes, we are moving on to see what God has in stock for us. Yes.
You mentioned that it's a mistake. Is it a mistake that you regret going against your party?
The question you asked is a bit. All that I can say is we've apologized to the party, to NEC, and so we move on. Yeah.
Did you feel that you were let down by your party?
The word let down. We did our best.
I'm asking that because you lost by just 209 votes. I'm sure that if you're in bed thinking, you probably, it might cross your mind that just if my party had said they would support me, perhaps I would have won.
Definitely, that is what every human being would think. That is what every human being would think. And that is rightly so. But then at the end of the day, we see. We'll move on and see.
So what does the party make of this apology? Listen to former MP for Bekwai. He's also the chairman of the MPP's planning committee, Joseph Osei Owusu.
It was taken in good faith, yes. It was taken in good faith. I mean, it was just to ensure that we respect the structures of the party in future.
She lost by just 209 votes. Does the party regret not officially declaring support for her?
Well, the party did not change its position on not contesting. So it doesn't matter how much. For me, this was no election. What was the turnout? The circumstances showed clearly that we ought not to have contested. It was not worth it. But her decision was to contest. It's over. She has accepted she took a wrong step. She has apologized. I think she should let it go.
Well, we are learning tonight that the party's planned National Delegates Conference is now generating some measure of controversy among the leadership itself. Joseph Owusu disclosed that some members of the party called for a postponement of that 19th July National Delegates Conference. Listen to him.
Well, there was a petition that the date for the conference should be changed. National Council, after considering it, decided that we should continue in view of the preparations we have made, commitments we have done. We should continue with the conference as already announced.
Apart from that, what else was on the table?
That was all. We discussed the last by-elections and the conflicting signals. How come I think the National Executive Committee decided that we will not contest, but the candidate went ahead and contested. So those matters were discussed.
And then with maintaining the date, was it a consensus or was vetoed?
Oh, it was a consensus generally. There were a few people who were pursuing, or should I say, just one person who passionately pursued, but we decided that, unfortunately, notwithstanding the passionate appeal, the steps that we have taken we've gone too far deep to turn back. So we'll continue.
And Ekuya just informed us that she apologized to the party. Was that?
I want to bring in right now the Deputy General Secretary of the MPP, Haruna Mohammed. Also joining me is Dr. Kwame Asante, a Senior Political Science Lecturer with the University of Ghana Political Science Department. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time here on Newsnight. Haruna Mohammed, let me start with you. We had the apology that was issued by your candidate in the Abluma North rerun. Was this accepted by the meeting today, the executives who met today?
Thank you very much, Ivan. I would say good evening to your cherished listeners, yourself and my co-panelists on the program. Yes, we did have a National Council meeting today. The matter came up. She was invited and she felt that she had thrown the party under the bus, and she apologized and regret on going against the party's decision. And members of council accepted that.
I mean, I read your constitution and I noticed that one of the grounds for disciplinary action is bringing the party's name into disrepute. This qualifies. Why is the party not taking that step?
There is that legal frame of showing remorse, even when you are to punish somebody and the person has gone ahead to show remorse. If you see the positivity of the remorse that the person has shown, you also have the liberty to pardon or to forgo or lessen the punishment that is thereon. So this is the first step that has been taken, and I think that I need to commend Honorable Nana Ekuya for that particular positive and bold decision to accept, admit, and then apologize, and the party moves on.
The party is moving on, but you lost very narrowly. You think the confusing signals that were sent contributed to the outcome?
Evans, the party never lost elections in Abluma North. And 1,100 years, I would still maintain that stand. And the party's principle still remains that we never lost that election. I want to tell you, that election has been robbed. That election is shrouded in illegality. That election will forever be remembered in any time that elections are mentioned. In any time that we are to cite bad decisions of Electoral Commission, this will always found itself in the annals or the histories of this country. I tell you that the constitution that governs elections, that gives the power to Electoral Commission, the CI 127 that gives power to Electoral Commission, never gave the power to the Electoral Commission to take a decision for a rerun. The CI gives the Electoral Commission the power when there is a tie in Regulation 42 of CI 127. And again, in the matter of court decisions, the Electoral Commission ought to have gone back to the court to ask for variation of the orders because of their inability to carry out the orders of the court. Until that is justified, the MPP will stand by the principle that that election never exists, and we won the election, and it has been robbed from our hands.
Dr. Asante, what's your take on the candidate's apology?
Evans, you recall last time when we met on your program, I did say that if you look at the fact that the candidate could ignore all the instructions of the party and go ahead to contest, on top of it, contest in the name of the party, then I believe strongly that there are some people or forces behind her, and that all that they are doing is a certain strategy. When she's able to grab the seat, they will all rally behind her. When she's not, they will just ask her to apologize, and then they move on. That's exactly what we have seen, because I still cannot believe that an ordinary member can wish away decision of NEC and then go on top of it, go and use the party's name to contest for election, only to come and say that I'm sorry, and that one. You read the constitutional provision of the MPP to Mr. Mohammed, and MPP, knowing who they are, they will take it from there with severe sanction. But here you are. So we can understand, from where I sit, I can understand what has transpires. But these things do not augur well because you try, when you go on that route, you end up breaking the institutions, the rules, the regulations, the procedures. Then they become irrelevant to everybody in the party. But that doesn't work well for any meaningful democracy. And then a party which is very strong like the NPP, it doesn't bode well for them at all.
I mean, yes, she has now apologized, but shouldn't others do same? Because Dr. Baumia himself was out there publicly backing her with resources to go and campaign in an election. The party's National Executive Committee had said the party was not going to participate. That obviously is the leader of the party in the last elections and the flag bearer and the former vice president on the ticket of the MPP. I guess condoning a stance against the party's position. And he wasn't alone. There is Brian Champon and others, all of them there on the ground supporting the elections. Is it fair to expect that the party should exact the same apology from these stalwarts?
The party will not be able to muster the courage and ask them to do that. That's the best thing to do, because I don't understand why NEC will issue an order and it will be broken by a candidate, and then we'll have a tacit support of leaders of the party to break that rule, if you wanted to put it this way. Then it doesn't gel. So I believe that the rules governing all these processes need to be looked at again, and then they need to be firm. Otherwise, they will come out with all the rules where we need them to be able to be strong, and then come out with something meaningful. I'm afraid they will obviously fail us, and that puts the party in disarray, and it doesn't help them to be able to organize themselves for the battles ahead.
I mean, Haruna, I must ask you, yes, the candidate was asked, or she offered remorsefully to apologize, but did others who aided her in defiance of the party's directives, i.e. the former Vice President, Brian Champon, and others, Hawa Kumsing and co, who were seen on the ground, were they also asked to apologize, or did they offer to apologize?
Evans, this is a meeting that we have had, that we have not done a press conference on that, you remember? This is a very classified meeting. A lot went into the decision to come out with this particular agreement to be able to accept the apology. The MPP is a very principled party. All the arguments you are putting through was matters that were adduced before council. You know us. We have never run away from our shadow. And I can tell you that a lot of things went in. And all these options were raised with regards to those who participated, who assisted, who aided. All these matters were resolved. The bottom line is that the candidate in question saw the reasoning, showed remorse before council, apologized to council. Council, with many elders who were in there, gave several accounts of matters. Council, in its wisdom, accepted and asked the party moves on. The party will take very stringent measures on certain matters, and in the near future, many people will applaud the party and get to understand where we came from, and to also appreciate that in the moment that we find ourselves, the general public should understand that where she's coming from, how desperate she was to be able to hang on to claim what she has won, and how she wanted to make sure that that seat becomes ours, irrespective of the directive. She was reminded of the consequences and what would have come out of that, and all the other options that were available to the party. And at the end of the day, there is reasoning, and there is that fact that this woman has shown so much power, so much reasoning, and so much reform within her in terms of going against the decision of the National Executive Committee.
And very quickly,
the council is made up of very matured individuals. Aside some of us who are young, we also bring something on table, and I think that there is so much reason and there is so much wisdom on what happened in council.
And very quickly, on the subject of the National Delegates Conference this Saturday, is it coming off as scheduled? We were told that there was a petition to postpone it. You are the Deputy General Secretary. Is it happening?
It is coming on. Today, indeed, we went to unveil the team for the conference. We discussed, and the team for the conference, it's something all of us are making sure that we go through, which is rebuilding together with our values. It was unveiled today at 10 a.m. Nothing has changed. All the programs under the National Delegates Conference will come on. The venue still remains the University of Ghana Sports Stadium on the 19th, arrival on the 18th. We have also communicated the restricted movement plan, the security arrangement, the health and safety arrangement that we have done. And specifically, if you look at these rumors of COVID, coupled with all of us going through with the injection, taking the vaccines, the Health and Safety Committee has supervised a number of activities within the facility for compliance. We have set up a medical team. 10 medical stands will be set up. 3 will be outside, 7 will be inside the stadium, with over 50 volunteer medical staff to support. The committee has also established an emergency support with the University of Ghana Medical Center, with 10 medical staff stationed at the University of Ghana Medical Center who are professionals. The Health and Safety Committee has also contracted the National Ambulance Service for support as well. Accommodation, transportation, feeding arrangement has been done. We are of the view that the party is of the view that the security personnel, which is Ghana Police Service, will heavily man the entrance. Accreditation is going to be very key with respect to how things are going to move. Each of the 16 regions will be assigned a designated gate of entry to facilitate orderly movement and effective security screening. And any person that is not a delegate, all non-delegates are strongly advised to stay at home and follow the conference proceedings via television or other media platforms. No special access will be granted to non-delegates if they are not invited. Prohibited materials such as billboards, banners, posters, flyers, t-shirts, souvenirs of any aspirant, be it constituency, region, national, flag bearer, all of that, if it is found at the ground, will be pulled down. Again, media coverage guidelines has also been given. Accreditation for media. The Communication and Media Committee has established an accreditation form via Google, which has been sent to media houses. Accreditation badges will be available for pickup on Friday, 18th July at 12 p.m. Media Village will also be done. The committee will set up a centralized area for setup and dignitary access. There will be broadcast feed. The committee will provide a clean audio and video feed, plus English and Twi audio studios that will be using for commentary. There will also be an outstation access satellite connectivity that will be available to the media outside Accra. There will also be a setup deadline. All media houses are supposed to set up and complete by 12 hours before the conference starts.
Okay, and Haruna, there's something you said I wanted to clarify. Did you say that all delegates participating in this conference have been vaccinated against COVID?
It's going to be a very good thing. You're all welcome to the conference on Saturday.
Yeah, Haruna, just quickly clarify for me. Did you say that all delegates attending this conference have been vaccinated against COVID?
Largely, because the level of vaccination that has been done in Ghana. I think that the vaccination is also one of the aspects that have been able to curtail.
So this is a regular vaccination that we've did in the past.
Ghanaians handling the COVID in the past. So,
okay. Okay, Haruna, thank you very much. And that there is Haruna Mohammed. He's the Deputy General Secretary of the MPP. Earlier had Dr. Kwame Asante is the Senior Political Science Lecturer with the University of Ghana. Coming up later here on the bulletin, pay 2 years rent or stay homeless. That's a harsh choice many low-income workers in Ghana are facing as more begin to stay in kiosks instead of renting a room.
Landlords were demanding for 2 years, but my job, I can't pay for 2 years. For 1 year, cry is something. Decided to rent a kiosk.
But details of that right after business with George. Hello, George.
Hi, Evans. And coming up in business, the IMF is warning that rising energy sector debts remains the biggest threat to stabilizing the economy and Ghana's program with the fund. And government promises major facelift of sites and infrastructure that leads to these tourist ties in the country. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials, Centers tanks, and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal.
If home is where the heart is, then let's go home, shall we? Let's go where the entertainment is, where the passion is, where the laughter is, and sometimes even the tears too. Let's go where we feel safe enough to share our opinions
and send tweets,
where we do that embarrassing little dance to our favorite song. Let's go home where the love, the care, and the joy live.
There's no place like home. Connect your home to super fast internet with affordable data bundles from MTN Home. Visit broadband.mtn.com.ga or your My MTN app to sign up today. Everywhere you go.
M&C Group is a leading investment holding company with expertise in minerals and food commodity trading, precious minerals refinery, real estate development, and logistics and energy. With individually registered companies, our headquarters is located in Accra, Ghana, with operational offices in Dubai, UAE, Hong Kong, and Guangzhou in China, Johannesburg in South Africa, Virginia in the USA, and Milan, Italy. We connect business markets and drive growth. Trust us to maximize value in every deal. Call us on 0302-551-917 or 0302-551-918 or send us an email mncgroup@mncgroupgh.com. MNC Group, totally reliant.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks, and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom. And my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first port of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery, and equipment. Visit our head office,
Takweje, Osu near the Osu Cemetery, Temania Community 4, Takoradi opposite Vijay Mays Plaza, Cape Coast University Bookshop, Spintex Road near Absa Bank, Atomic Center Point Mall, Winneba University Campus, KNUST, the University Bookshop, and Santasi in Kumasi. You can also visit our shop online, www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Hurry while stock lasts. For further inquiries, contact us on 050-162-0810 or 0302-764-101. Email info@kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, where quality and affordability is assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Brush your teeth every day and night. Up and down and all around. Brush the feeling bright. Brush your teeth. Brush with mom and dad.
Deodorant, cavity protection.
For 10 times stronger.
This advert is FDA approved.
Every mosquito standing run away.
This advert is FDA approved.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the IMF is warning that the country's rising interest rate remains the biggest threat to efforts to firmly stabilize the economy and the fund program. Now, this was captured in the IMF staff report submitted to the executive board of the fund. There is more in this report.
The IMF in the staff report put the country's energy sector debt ending December 2024 at $2.2 billion. However, the IMF is worried that enough has not been done to try and reduce the debt position. The fund in the same report noted that effort to even increase the tariff gradually may still not be enough to address the situation. The IMF is therefore pushing for some aggressive measures to be undertaken to drastically reduce the sector's total debt. It is also backing efforts to increase private sector participation in the operations of the Electricity Company of Ghana. It believes that this might go a long way to deal with revenue collection. The IMF also revealed that the fund is unable to generate enough resources to cover the generation and distribution of energy to consumers in Ghana. But how have we gotten here? Well, for the IMF, the situation has come about from the confluence of factors which include weak governance, significant system losses, and revenue collection challenges, as well as tariffs significantly being cost recovery.
And that is a Business Desk report. Meanwhile, economist Professor Patrick Osumi says he backs calls for government to do more to contain and actually improve revenue mobilization. He's also been talking about some threats to the program and what government should do now.
We are clearly not out of the woods. I think the fundamental problems that we have to address, we haven't really addressed them yet. Yes, we've seen substantial progress in terms of the inflation and the exchange rate, as well as the accumulation of reserves. But we know that how this progress has been achieved is not by fundamentally addressing the long-term structural problems with the Ghanaian economy. I think recently we've seen that the 24-hour economy, which is the flagship program of the government, has been passed. Those are the real sector structural measures that we need to improve the economy long-term. Until we do those ones, we'll be able to buy some improvement in the macroeconomic indicators, but those are not going to be deep-rooted.
And that is economist Professor Patrick Osumi. Now, government has assured that it is working to improve roads leading to tourist sites as well as infrastructure in other areas. Now, this was after the 2024 tourism report showed that the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum was actually emerged as the most visited site in the country. Kufuor Kakrakusi is Deputy Director of Corporate Affairs at the Ghana Tourism Authority.
At any point in time, when we are able to renovate or rehabilitate our tourist site, like the tourism industry did for the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, we are able to see the numbers increasing. So what happens is that once we are able to put some of these measures in place, like His Excellency has said that would be done, some of these things will be nipped in the bud, and then we'll be able to increase the numbers. Two, if you look at the road network to some of the tourist sites and attractions, that's also our own Deputy Minister, Honorable Yusuf Jaja, indicated that we are virtually in talks with the Roads Ministry to be able to fix some of these places.
Kufuor Kakrakusi is Deputy Director in charge of Corporate Affairs at the Ghana Tourism Authority, speaking on the Beyond the Numbers show. And the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, Dan Kanamo, has maintained that recent performance of indigenous oil firms, Star shows that consumers are now more price sensitive. Star Oil, according to the National Petroleum Authority, emerged as the top oil marketing firm from January to May this year. Duncan Amwa says the development should go a long way to actually benefit consumers when it comes to very competitive pricing on the market.
This should be a wake-up call to the other oil marketing companies that the Ghanaian consumer is a lot more complex today than they probably were some time ago, where you were told if it is petrol, it's got to be a certain OMC or the other. They will go for where they're getting the best value. They will go for where they're getting the best prices. And for us at COPEC, this is only an affirmation to the fact that if you treat your consumers well, they will stay and you will grow those numbers. The other local, OMCs probably should take a cue, and they are doing quite well. Like you did mention, some of them are coming up. Frames not doing bad at all. Zen Petroleum not doing bad, except that for Zen, a lot of their volumes are simply coming from the mines. But we would want to see a lot more of their retail outlets planted so that Ghanaians could also get the benefits that Star Oil is giving to its customers by way of, cheaper prices, quality fuel.
Duncan Amwa is the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. Let's turn attention to the stock market. And if you are a shareholder of MTN Ghana, well, the value of its share that you're holding today was up by a peso to close at 3 Ghana cedis, 2 pesos. And that's all for business on Newsnight.
John, thank you very much. Do you rent or you live in your own home?
I don't rent.
Oh, you don't rent? Okay.
No.
That's lucky you. But as you know, many rent. And one of the biggest challenges they face is paying that 2 years rent advance. Yeah. It's a killer. And that's a story that many are currently having to contend with. It's a story of Emilia Boche. You haven't experienced that before, have you?
No.
You haven't not rented ever in your life?
No.
Oh, goodness. Lucky you. Lucky you indeed. Then stay and listen to the story of Emilia Boche, because she searched endlessly, like many of us mere mortals do, for a single room close to where she works, hoping to find one that would take a year's rent up front. But every landlord demanded 2 years advance, which is really, well, the norm is. With nowhere she could turn to, she built a wooden kiosk just to have a roof over her head. In this episode of Habitat series, Joy News's Jacqueline and Sumayeboa exposes the harsh reality trapping thousands in Ghana's broken rental system.
He's going to increase the rent for no reason.
Emilia Boche has been searching for a single room for the past 3 months, but every time it ended the same way. Pay 2 years rent up front or keep searching. She earns just 700 Ghana cedis a month, money she used to make working as a supermarket attendant. At that rate, saving even 1 year's rent felt impossible.
From 1,000 to 1,005 was 1 year. And then
Emilia searched and pleaded with several landlords to accept just a 1 year advance. But even that wasn't enough. She was still priced out. She was hoping to get a modest space for 450 Ghana cedis a month. But landlords she contacted were asking for between 800 Ghana cedis and 1,000 Ghana cedis a month, and for 2 years upfront. It felt like finding a pin in a haystack.
almost 2 to 3 months, because the rent was so high, and then most of the landlords were demanding for 2 years. But my job, I can't pay for 2 years. For 1 year, cry is something.
So she stopped searching and started building a kiosk from scratch on a land she rented because it was her only option.
I decided to do it on my own. So excluding the land is almost 7,000. So when you add the land to it, 8,000 and above.
Even now, she pays monthly just to stay on the land her kiosk sits on at Medina.
I decided to rent a kiosk. So excluding the land is almost 7,000. So when you add the land to it, 8,000 and above, sorry.
Oh, okay, trying to put the whole structure together.
Yes, 8,000 and above. Where I was staying in a kiosk like this one, but I was renting it.
Okay.
So I decided to look for a normal building to stay in, but I searched and searched and searched. I couldn't get. So that's why I made up my mind. I'll still use the kiosk.
So would you say that rent in Ghana is very expensive?
Very expensive, very, very expensive.
The rent law makes it illegal for landlords to demand more than 6 months' rent in advance. Landlords who do so can be fined up to 500 penalty units, jailed for up to 2 years, or both. Yet in practice, many tenants are asked for 2 years, some even more. The law exists, but for most people, its protection is only on paper. Emilia used to teach. She left her job because the cost of transport from her new place swallowed her pay. Now she's hoping to return to school, but for now, the kiosk is all she can afford.
And then I have plans, so I have to rent the kiosk, use the kiosk for now, and then after some times I'll try and then move in another place.
Every day, more Ghanaians are being priced out of a place to lay their heads, not because they do not work hard, but because landlords are breaking the law and getting away with it. Until the law is enforced and rent demands reflect real wages, decent shelter will remain out of reach for Emilia and for thousands like her. Jacqueline and Sumar Yepwa for Joy News, Accra.
And I want to take you to Parliament now, where the Majority Leader, Mahama Yariga, is demanding a thorough investigation into allegations some soldiers brutalized residents in Boku and its environs, including attacking and destroying a statue of the Boku Naba. Now, the incident, which is said to have occurred on Sunday, has allegedly thrown the communities into a state of fear. We'll get into the Majority Leader's statement shortly, but first, listen to an account of what happened from MP for Zibila Ebenezer in Debila.
The military, while on their usual escort of Mamprises from Bolga to Boku, blocked some adjoining roads to the main Bolgatanga-Boku road in the Zebila township. That is the Zebila Hospital and Tishi roads within the Zebila Market Center, in order to allow the escorted vehicles pass through the township. In the process, commuters who came closer to the respective junctions were severely beaten as though they were common criminals by the military personnel positioned at the said junctions. This cannot be accepted in this 21st century, where our laws respect and guarantee human dignity and respect for all persons. In their attempt to protect themselves from the attacks, the military opened fire, shooting sporadically, wounding several people and killing some.
Parliamentary correspondent Kweku joins me right now with more on this. Kweku, there's a demand now to replace the soldiers.
Well, yes, according to the Zebila MP, it would appear some of the soldiers who were deployed to the conflict-torn area have lost the psychological and moral way to deal with the situation. It's appealing on the Defense Ministry to reallocate or redeploy new soldiers to Boko to forestall the occurrence of such brutalities.
I called on the Minister of Defense and the National Security to act as a matter of urgency and withdraw the entire military force from Boku and replace a new set. It is our belief that the current military personnel had long been tainted and corrupted and have therefore lost the moral uprightness in providing professional security protection for the people of Kusau. These incidents have left my constituents, especially communities along the Boku-Bolgatanga stretch, in a state of fear, anxiety, and panic. It is imperative to note that every life lost must be a serious concern to us as representatives of the people who elected us to represent them.
And Kweku, what about the Majority Leader himself?
Well, yes, in this statement, he started by saying, I condemn in no uncertain terms the unacceptable act of destruction of the statue of the Zugram of the Kusau traditional area by some military personnel. I demand immediate investigation by the senior hierarchy of the military. He says the violent gun attack by unknown youth on the vehicle escorted by the soldiers is equally condemned. And Evans, he makes a point that it would appear some of the military ranks have been infiltrated. Let me quote, he says, I, however, appeal to the Kusasi youth to calm down as government takes urgent steps to investigate the infiltrations into the ranks of the military by elements who seek to politicize and further destabilize the situation in Boko. That is the majority leader statement from this morning.
Quickly, thank you very much. And that's it for News Night tonight. And, of course, thanks for staying with us here on the show. And it's now time for a major sporting event I want to bring to your attention pretty shortly. Well, the heart of a lion, you can see the heart of the Black Queens, and they're playing tonight. And my colleague is in the studio right now with commentary, I believe.
Yeah. All right, welcome to Joy 99.7 FM on this auspicious Monday for the Black Queens of Ghana. There's a lot of good energy going on in the tournament with many teams righting the wrongs. Hopefully, the Black Queens are able to tap into that. The head coach of the team came last year. Green has made 3 changes. Prince Aladubia, Princess Marfo, and Josephine Bonsu are all starting today for the Queens in this game against Tanzania. While Doris Budwa, who suspended, misses out, as does Anastasia Ichan and Evelyn Bedu, who both have been dropped to the bench for the Black Queens of Ghana. My name is Victor Ashitamakla. I'm going to be here with Daniel Cranton to talk you through, hopefully, what is 90 minutes of brilliant football and, more importantly, qualification for the Black Queens of Ghana. They need to win to ensure they qualify as one of the 3 best third-place teams in the tournament.